Thank you, Mr. Paisley. It's a great honour to serve with your chairmanship this morning. May I also thank, as other honourable members have done, the honourable members for Oldham East, Saddleworth and Cambridge for having brought this debate before us today. It's a timely and critical debate. It's one which we all feel very strongly about. Many members have spoken very movingly of the impact that dementia has had upon their family, and certainly I am one of those too. I will always remember the effect that dementia had upon my grandfather, and I remember that strict but fair, I think is probably the word used of that generation, Royal Air Force officer and teacher, and the effect that that had upon him in his final years. And so I have personal involvement and interest in this matter, as do so many, and it is of course an emotional matter for many of us. I am also married, as I've told the House before, to a music therapist, and my wife, many of her clients are those who are living with dementia. And of course, classically, one always thinks of those as being those who are over 65. But that isn't always the case. And increasingly, as you will tell me, it is people who are much younger. And it's those people who I would like to focus my brief comments upon today. Now, I'm a Dementia Friends champion, and I know many honourable members of Dementia Friends, and any who aren't, I'd warmly encourage to become so because of the education that it gives you, which I'll refer to in a moment. But one of the key lines and the key lessons that Dementia Friend champions ask people to take away is that not everybody who is old has dementia, and not everybody who has dementia is old. And I follow up that line by saying it's rare, but people often have dementia who are younger. Well, Mr. Paisley, it's rare, but it's not that rare, because it is about 5% of people in the UK who have dementia. That's about 42,000 people, so it is a very significant number. But one of the reasons why I always ask people to become Dementia Friends is the extraordinary positive message that comes from that programme. Because the key message is, well, really, firstly, don't ever say that someone is suffering from dementia. They're living with dementia, and I'm very glad to hear that everybody is using the correct phraseology today, and I hope Mr. Paisley and I will continue to do so throughout the course of my speech. But also to take away the fact that you can live well with dementia, and there are very many things that we can all do in our constituencies and in our public lives to ensure that everybody does do so. Well, the difficulty is that when you're dealing with young dementia, by which I mean people under 65, young onset dementia, you are often dealing with a condition that's very difficult to diagnose. It's easily confused with stress or depression at that age. And once you have the diagnosis, so once you have delayed diagnosis, but then once you have that diagnosis, then the care may not be easy to find. It's often fragmented. It's often targeted at people who are over 65, and of course very welcome where it is. But it is important, again, as the Dementia Friends programme shows you, that any care is targeted towards that individual's particular needs. It's this time when we're very grateful of programmes like the Alzheimer's Society's side-by-side programme, and I'm very honoured that Young Dementia UK and its is based in Witney. Its director Tessa Gutteridge is my constituent, and it's a wonderful programme that seeks to bring together appropriate care for people who are living with dementia but under 65. For example, social events, because a social event for someone who perhaps is in their 40s but living with dementia would not be ideal if it's with people who are in their 70s or their 80s. It's much better if they're with people of their own age. And Young Dementia UK have joined together with Age UK, Oxfordshire and Guidepost to bring together that specialised expertise to bring together appropriate care across Oxfordshire and a support service targeted towards those who have young onset dementia. But of course we would like to see this throughout the whole of the country, and it's something I know that the Minister will be thinking about in due course. We've launched the report, and I'm very grateful to Member for Oldham East, who has mentioned it already, and I won't go through it in detail, as she's done so fully already. But I would like to just deal with employment, because as we know under the Equality Act, dementia is a disability, and that of course particularly impacts those 42,000 people under 65 who may well be working. And the challenge of course is particularly unique because they may be carers themselves for parents, there certainly may well be carers for children, they may be holding down a full-time job. They may have a mortgage to pay, and it's particularly difficult. There's a stigma, as we know, attached to dementia to tell an employer that you're living with dementia. But then you have difficulties in ensuring that the reasonable adjustments which should be made are being made. Now, that may be because of a lack of awareness of rights. It may be that the employers don't realise that they should be making those reasonable adjustments, but also they may not realise what can be made. And again, that's why I give another unashamed plug for the Dementia Friends programme, which explains to people how it feels to be living with dementia and those reasonable adjustments that can be made. The government also has an important role to play here, and this is very much dealt with in the APBG's report, and I would ask the Minister to consider asking the DWP to revise its guidance to employers about its responsibilities to support people who are living with dementia. It can cover reasonable adjustments, information on the Access to Work programme, and how to support employees with dementia. There's very much more to do before we can call ourselves a society that is truly dementia friendly, but I know that together we can do so. Thank you.